When a home starts to feel cluttered, most of us have the same instinct. We look for somewhere to put things. A new basket for the hallway. Another box for the wardrobe. A shelf for the kitchen. Perhaps a few matching containers so everything looks more organized. And for a while it can feel as though the problem is being solved. But there is a limit to what organization can do. If a home is simply holding too much, better storage often just gives the excess a more respectable place to hide. That is why decluttering before organizing matters. A useful idea in Japanese-inspired home organization is to reduce what a space has to hold before trying to design a more complicated system around it. The calmer question is not, where can I put this? It is, does this still deserve the space it takes up? This is not about stripping a home bare, and it is certainly not about throwing away anything that fails some strict minimalist test. It is about reducing the number of things your home has to manage before you build systems around them. Here are 11 categories worth looking at first. The first is surprisingly easy to miss empty storage that is itself taking up space. Spare baskets, old plastic tubs, drawer organizers that no longer fit anywhere, boxes saved because they might be useful one day. Storage feels responsible, so we rarely question it. We assume an empty container is an asset. But an unused storage item is still an object. It still needs a cupboard, a shelf, or a corner. Several of them stacked together can create exactly the visual weight they were supposed to remove. Ask yourself, if I did not already own this container, would I buy it today? For a specific purpose. If the answer is no, it may be ready to go to someone who actually needs it. The second category is duplicate cleaning products. This usually happens slowly. You buy a new spray because the old one is nearly finished. Then you try a different bathroom cleaner. There is a half-used bottle under the sink, another at the back, and perhaps two products that do almost the same job. We keep them because cleaning supplies feel useful. Getting rid of them feels wasteful. But 10 partly used products can make a cupboard harder to clean and harder to understand. The clutter is not only what you see, it is the small decisions created every time you open the door. The question is simple. Which of these products do I actually reach for? Use up what is still good. Simplify your routine where it makes sense, recycle the packaging correctly, and resist replacing duplicates until they are genuinely needed. Third, single-purpose appliances that rarely earn their space. A gadget may have looked clever when you bought it. A machine for one type of breakfast, a specialist cutter, a small appliance used twice a year. These are difficult to release because we remember the intention behind the purchase. Getting rid of the object can feel like admitting the plan did not work. But your kitchen is not a museum of good intentions. If something occupies valuable worktop or cupboard space, ask, when did I last use this, and what would I realistically use instead if it disappeared? If the answer is a pan, a knife, or nothing at all, the appliance may be more useful donated than stored. Fourth is packaging kept just in case. Phone boxes, small cardboard boxes, padded envelopes, gift bags, jars, nice tins. Strong-looking packaging has a strange ability to persuade us that future usefulness is almost guaranteed. One or two can be handy. A growing collection becomes a storage system for hypothetical situations. And because packaging is often bulky, it can make cupboards and wardrobes look full without containing anything you actually value. Ask, do I have a real use for this within the next few months? Or am I storing the possibility of usefulness Keep a small, defined amount if it genuinely helps. Recycle the rest. Fifth, decorations that no longer make you feel anything. Decor is different from practical clutter because it once had a clear job. It made a room feel warmer, more personal, more like you. But tastes change. Homes change. Sometimes an ornament stays for years simply because it has always been there. The eye continues to process it even when the mind stopped noticing it long ago. Too many neutral, forgotten objects can make a room feel visually busy without making it feel more meaningful. Ask if this disappeared for a week, would I miss seeing it? You do not need to remove everything decorative. The aim is almost the opposite, to give the things you genuinely like enough space to be noticed. Sixth is clothing for a future version of yourself. The trousers for when your body changes. The jacket for a lifestyle you do not currently live. The formal clothes for an event that never seems to happen. The style you imagined becoming comfortable with, but never did. We keep these pieces because they represent possibility. Letting them go can feel like letting go of an identity. But a wardrobe full of imagined futures can make getting dressed today harder. Ask, does this support the life I am actually living now? You can keep a few meaningful or genuinely likely pieces, but clothing that creates pressure guilt or constant indecision may deserve a better home with someone who will wear it. Seventh, outdated technology. Old chargers, mystery cables, phones in drawers, broken headphones, adapters for devices you no longer own. Technology clutter survives because we are afraid the one strange cable we discard will suddenly become essential next Tuesday. Usually it does not. And because these items are small, we underestimate how much space and confusion they create when mixed together. Ask, can I name the device this belongs to, and do I still own and use that device? If not, sort it responsibly. Electronics and batteries often need proper recycling rather than the household bin. Eighth, too many kitchen backups. One spare is useful. 6 can quietly become inventory. Extra mugs, duplicate utensils, backup chopping boards, unopened condiments, stacks of food containers, several versions of the same pan. The psychology is understandable. We like being prepared. A full cupboard can feel reassuring. But beyond a certain point, backups create friction. You have to move 3 things to reach 1. Lids stop matching containers. Shelves become deep piles instead of usable spaces. Ask, how many of these could I use at the same time in my normal life? Keep enough for how your household actually functions, not for every possible future scenario. Ninth is paperwork that has lost its purpose. Old receipts, expired warranties, outdated manuals, letters you no longer need, printouts kept because they once felt official. Paper has authority. We hesitate to discard it because we worry that importance might be hidden somewhere inside. So piles survive long after their usefulness has gone. Ask, what specific problem would keeping this paper solve? If there is a legal, financial, or practical reason, keep it safely. If not, shred or recycle it appropriately. A document should have a purpose, not simply a history. 10th, free things you never wanted. Samples. Promotional tote bags, event merchandise, hotel toiletries, cheap gifts added to an order. Objects are oddly difficult to remove when we did not pay for them because there was never a buying decision to reconsider. They simply entered the home. But free to acquire does not mean free to store. Every item still consumes space and attention. Ask, would I choose to bring this into my home today if someone offered it to me again? If not, pass it on. Use it promptly, recycle it, or let it leave. And the 11th category is perhaps the most emotional things kept mainly because of guilt. A gift from someone you care about. An inherited object that does not suit your life. Something expensive you regret buying. A hobby item connected to a version of yourself you have moved on from. These objects are difficult because the decision is no longer about the object. It becomes tangled with gratitude, money memory, and identity. So they stay, even when seeing them creates a small feeling of heaviness. The useful question here is not, should I feel guilty for getting rid of this? It is, does keeping this object actually honor the person, money, or memory I associate with it? Sometimes the answer is yes, then keep it deliberately. Sometimes the more respectful choice is to photograph it, repair it, give it to a relative, donate it, sell it, or find someone who can genuinely use it. The point is not to become ruthless. It is to become more accurate. A calm home is not necessarily a home with very few things. It is a home where the things that remain have enough space, enough purpose, and enough clarity around them that they are not constantly competing for your attention. That is why organizing works better after reducing excess. Once there is less to manage, drawers do not need such clever dividers. Shelves do not need to be packed perfectly. Containers stop multiplying. Tidying becomes less about controlling objects and more about returning a manageable number of things to places that make sense. So before buying another basket, another box, or another shelf, try changing the question. Not, where can I store this, but, does this still deserve a place in my life? That question will not make every decision easy, but it will make your organizing much more honest.